ಹಲೋ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ಇವತ್ತು MCQ ಅನ್ನು ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ. MCQ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ನಾನು ಒನ್ ಬೈ ಒನ್ ಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಎಂಡಿಗೆ ಆನ್ಸರ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದಾವೆ. ನೀವು ಬೇಕಾದರೆ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸನ್ನು ಒಂದ್ಸಲ ಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೋದು. ಎಂಡಿಗೆ ಆನ್ಸರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಬೇಕಾದರೂ ಕಡೆಗೆ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಎಂಡಿಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲದರದ ಆನ್ಸರ್ಸನ್ನು ಇಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಿದೆ. ಸೊ ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ವಿತ್ ದ MCQ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಫಿಲ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಬ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್. The first chapter is Introduction to Computer System. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನು ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಿದೆ: ಫಂಡಮೆಂಟಲ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್, ಎವಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ಸ್, ಮೆಮರಿ, ಡೇಟಾ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸಿಂಗ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸಾಫ್ಟ್ವೇರ್ ಕಂಪೋನೆಂಟ್ಸ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ಲಿರೋ ಇದು ಮೇನ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ. ಅದರಲ್ಲೂ ಎಸ್ಸು ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ MCQ ಮತ್ತು ಫಿಲ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಬ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸಸೈಸನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಿದೆ. 1.1 that is first chapter 1.1 section Introduction to Computer System. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ್ದು MCQ ಬರ್ಬೋದು: Which of the following is not a characteristics of computer? Speed, accuracy, imitation of human feeling, storage. Imitation of human feeling is not a characteristic of computer. A computer processes data into dash: files, information, codes, programs. Information. Which among the following is the physical part of a computer? Software, hardware, data, information. Maybe software, data that we are supplying from the input device, information that we are taking from the output device. In this one, hardware is not a software or anything. That is a physical part that we can touch or feel. That is hardware. The basic operations of a computer are input, processing, output, storage, typing, editing, printing, saving, coding, compiling, running, debugging. None of this. In this one, IPO, that is input, process, output is there. That means this is the one that is along with the storage. And fill in the blank. A computer is a dash device that processes data. A computer is an electronic device that processes the data. Question 2. The combination of hardware and dash makes a computer system. Combination of hardware and software makes a computer system. Question 3. Computer cannot work without dash, without software. The dash is considered as the brain of the computer. The CPU is considered as the brain of the computer. So these are the common fill in the blanks from the 1.1 section. 1.2 Evolution of computer. Which was the first mechanical calculating device? Abacus. Mechanical. Which was the first electronic device? ENIAC. Electronic numerical integrator and calculator. Which is first commercial computer? That is Mark I. UNIVAC. That is the full form of Universal Automatic Computer. Universal Automatic Calculator or Computer, UNIVAC. The first generation computer used dash. The first generation used vacuum tubes. Second generation used transistor. And the fourth generation used microprocessor or LSI, large scale integration, ICs in the bigger or smaller format. Which generation introduced microprocessor? That is fourth generation. As I said here, transistor in the second generation, vacuum tube in the first generation, microprocessor in the fourth generation, IC in the third generation, integrated circuit. That is in the fourth generation. ENIAC belongs to which generation? ENIAC belongs to first generation, since it is developed nearly in 1940s. Fill in the blanks. The dash is known as the earliest counting device. The earliest, nearly in 500 BC, there was abacus. Question 2. The second generation computer used dash. The second generation computer used transistors. Since there was in 1947-48, the transistor was invented. So second generation computer used transistor. The development of dash led to third generation computer. Development of ICs led to the third generation computer. Question for the fifth generation computers are based on dash intelligence, artificial intelligence. And then on the computer memory. Which of the following is volatile memory? There are two types of memory: volatile, non-volatile. Volatile means temporary. Which is temporary here? ROM, hard disk, RAM, CD. So RAM is temporary storage device. That's why it is volatile memory. Which type of memory is permanent? RAM, ROM, cache and register. So ROM, it's a non-volatile memory, permanent memory. The smallest unit of memory is byte, bit, nibble, word. Smallest unit is bit. 4 bits will make nibble, 8 bits will make 1 byte. Even the byte we will call it as a one word or one character. Secondary storage is also called temporary storage device, permanent storage device, cache memory, none of this. So permanent storage device, as you know, hard disk, CD, DVD, pen drive, these are called permanent storage devices. Then fill in the blanks. Question on 1 byte consists of dash bits. 1 byte consists of 8 bits. Dash memory is erased when the computer is turned off. Random memory, that is random access memory, is erased when the computer is turned off. ROM stands for read-only memory. Hard disk is an example of dash storage, secondary storage. 1.4 section, data transfer between memory and CPU. On that section, data transfer between CPU and memory is controlled by data bus, control bus, address bus, all of this. Since we will call it as all three we will call it as a system bus. Remember that thing. The CPU uses dash to identify the memory location. CPU uses address bus to identify the memory location. The movement of data from memory to CPU is called fetching, decoding, execution and store. Fetching. The movement of data from memory to CPU. Taking the data from memory to CPU is called fetching. Which unit of CPU manages data flow between CPU and memory? ALU, CU, register, cache memory. Which unit of CPU manages data flow between CPU and memory? Control unit. Fill in the blanks. Question 1. The dash bus carries data between CPU and memory. The dash bus carries data. So they only said data. That's why data bus. The dash bus is used to specify the location of data, address bus. The dash bus manages control signals between CPU and memory, control bus. The first step of instruction execution is called, fetching. Next section 1.5 microprocessors. In that MCQ, a microprocessor is mainly a dash. A microprocessor is mainly central processing unit on a chip. The first microprocessor developed by Intel was 8080. Which of the following is not a microprocessor? Intel 8085, Intel 4004, ENIAC, AMD, Ryzen. So Intel 4004. Microprocessors perform mainly dash operation, arithmetic and logical. It will not perform input and output, networking, storage, no. That is arithmetic and logical, since ALU is related to microprocessor. ALU, registers, all are related to microprocessor. Fill in the blanks. A microprocessor is also known as dash chip. Microprocessor is also known as processor chip. Microprocessor is also known as a processor chip. Intel Dash was the first commercially available microprocessor, 8080. The ALU and CU are components of the CPU. Microprocessor process data in the form of bits or binary. We can say microprocessor process data in the form of bits or binary. Data and information. 1.6 section, data and information. Data refers to raw facts, processed facts, raw facts, organized facts, knowledge, that is a raw facts. Information is obtained after collecting data, processing data, deleting data, storing data. So processing data. Which of the following is an example of data? Average marks equal to 70, that is processing instruction. Pass or fail result, that may be output. Report card may be output. 55, 67, 89 is example of data. The transformation of data into information is done by CPU, input out device, output device, none of this. So CPU, because it is called processing. Fill in the blank. Data are raw, fill in the blanks. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ data are raw facts. A report card is an example of information. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಗೆ ಬರೋದು ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಅಂತ ಆಯ್ತು. It is an example of information. Dash is meaningful and processed data. Information is meaningful and processed data. Computers convert data into dash. Computers convert data into information. ಇದರ ಮೂರಕ್ಕೆ ಆನ್ಸರು ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್. ಇದಕ್ಕೊಂದು raw facts ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. Even in this chapter, you have to remember 3 types of data: structured data, semi-structured data, unstructured data. You have to see those examples related to structured data, semi-structured data, and unstructured data, as I completed that thing in the classes. In classes ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೆ, ಅದನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ರಿ ಒಂದ್ಸಲ. Then 1.7 section, that is on software. Software is collection of dash. Software is collection of programs. ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೆ, set of instruction makes program and set of programs makes software. So software is a collection of programs. Which type of software is MS Excel? System, application, utility, firmware. So that is application software. Software which is for one purpose. We'll call it as a application software. Some specific application. Which of the following is system software? MS Word, operating system, Tally, Photoshop, operating system. Application software is designed for managing hardware, solving user-specific tasks, controlling memory, data transfer. Solving user-specific task. Fill in the blanks. Dash software controls the overall working of the computer. Operating system software, or we can say system software. Question 2. Word processor and spreadsheets are example of dash software, application software. Utilities are also known as dash software. Utilities are also known as system software. Maybe antivirus, all those things we'll call it as a defragmentation utilities, known as system software. Firmware is software stored in ROM. ROM is a essential device to start a computer. Computer start ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ROM ಬೇಕು ಅಂತೇವೆ. It contains BIOS instruction ಅಂತ, basic input output system instruction ಅಥವಾ ಬೂಟಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಷನ್. ಬೂಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಹೇಗೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮಿಗೆ ಕಲಿಸೋದು ಅದೇ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಫರ್ಮ್ವೇರ್ ಅಂತೇವೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ನಾನು ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ, ದರ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ 3 type of wares: ಹಾರ್ಡ್ವೇರ್, ಸಾಫ್ಟ್ವೇರ್ ಅಂಡ್ ದ ಫರ್ಮ್ವೇರ್. 3 wares ಅನ್ನ ನೀವು ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು. ಹಾರ್ಡ್ವೇರ್, ಫಿಸಿಕಲ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ಸ್; software, set of instruction or set of programs; and the firmware, that is a software which is in the ROM to start a computer. Next, 1.8, that is operating system. The operating system is a type of dash software, application, system, utility, firmware, that is system software. Which of the following is not an operating system? Windows, Linux, Oracle, Mac OS. So Oracle. Which part of OS manages files? File management, memory management, process management, device management. Which part of OS manages files? That is a file management. Which of these is an open source operating system? Open source. That means it is a free plus source is available. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೋಡಿಂಗ್ ಬರೆದಿದ್ದು ಸಿಗ್ತದೆ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಫ್ರೀನೂ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಅದು ಯಾವುದು ಅಂತ? ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಲಿನಕ್ಸ್ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್. Then the fill in the blanks. The OS acts as an interface between user and hardware. User and hardware. User ಮತ್ತು ಹಾರ್ಡ್ವೇರ್ ನಡುವೆ ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಇಂಟರ್ಫೇಸ್ ಆಗಿ ವರ್ಕ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂತವೆ. ನಾವು ಏನು ಯೂಸರ್ ಏನು ಕೊಡ್ತಾನೆ ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗೋ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತದೆ, ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗೋ ಭಾಷೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಅಂಡ್ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತದೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗೋ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತದೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಎಸ್ ಇಂಟರ್ಫೇಸ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ಯೂಸರ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಹಾರ್ಡ್ವೇರ್. ದ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ OS ದಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜಸ್ CPU ಟೈಮ್ ಇಸ್ process management. Windows and Linux are examples of operating system. ಇವಿಷ್ಟು ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ತೇವೆ. ಇದರದೆಲ್ಲ ಆನ್ಸರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಿದೆ. ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸಿ ಆನ್ಸರ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಆಲ್ MCQ ಅಂಡ್ ಫಿಲ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಬ್ಲಾಂಕ್. 1.1ಗೆ ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ್ದು ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಇದ್ದಾವೆ, ಅದನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಿದೆ. ಹಾಗೆ 1.2ಗೆ ಯಾವುದಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಿದೆ. ನೀವು ರೆಫರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೋದು. ಫಸ್ಟಿಗೆ ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನೋಡ್ರಿ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸನ್ನು, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಆನ್ಸರ್ಸನ್ನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೋದು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೇನೆ ಆನ್ಸರ್ಸನ್ನು. 1.3 section, then 1.4 section, 1.3 computer memory, data transfer between memory and CPU, other MCQ, and then fill in the blanks of that computer memory, again fill in the blanks of data transfer between memory and CPU. All the answers are here. Then 1.5, that is microprocessors questions and answers. Questions we have given, answers are here. 1B, 2A, 3C, 4A. Then fill in the blanks. 1 processor, 24004, CPU, 4 binary. Then data and information 1.6 MCQs and fill in the blanks. Then 1.7, that is on software, answers to that 1.7. Then 1.8, answers to operating system. Thank you students. Just go through all the questions. ಅದ್ರ ಕ್ವಶನಿನ ರಿಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರೂ ರಿಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಅದನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ರಿ. ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ನಾನು ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನೋಡಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ಐ ಟ್ರೈ ಟು ಕವರ್. ಮತ್ತೆ ಯಾವುದು ಕವರ್ ಆಗಲಿಲ್ಲ ಆದರೆ ಅದ್ರ ರಿಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಯಾವ್ಯಾವುದಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನೂ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ರಿ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ಸಿಗೆ ರೆಡಿ ಆಗ್ರಿ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು. ಗಾಡ್ ಬ್ಲೆಸ್ ಯು.